So I've just got done with week 1 of Ryan Tedder's songwriting course, and I got to be honest, it has already been worth the money that I spent for the course. I want to give just some like overarching thoughts on week 1, and then I'll dive in to each of the weeks. So Ryan is a really good teacher, and it's not common that you see that. A lot of people who achieve a lot of fame and notoriety aren't often the best teachers, but Ryan is really good at teaching the concepts, especially concepts that are really hard to teach. Like, it's really hard to teach how to write a melody. And so for some things, he doesn't have like a formula to follow per se, but he does really try to give you the best that he is able to and try to walk you through his process. And he does a really good job of doing that. The other thing is that it's definitely not a super scripted class, which I think is really good. Like, there's obviously a layout for it, but during each of the lessons, it's definitely fairly unscripted. And so when he goes in and he starts writing a song, it's literally from scratch. And he talks about that. Like, he doesn't have any preformed ideas. He doesn't have any pre-established things that he's trying to achieve within a song. He's literally starting from scratch alongside of you. And I think that helps a lot, at least for me, because we're starting on the same playing field. So seeing how he's able to overcome different obstacles when he's writing his song is really helpful. And so let's kind of dive into some of the nitty gritty of this, and then I'll kind of cap off with some ending thoughts here. So if we look here, this is the class homepage. Well, not really the homepage, but the splash screen that starts us off. And then if we go to the classroom, it has today's tasks here. So I'm supposed to be watching this video lesson. I need to get back on track, like it says. This was due yesterday, and I haven't done it yet. But I've gotten through like half of it. But I really wanted to get this video out, and then I'm pretty much going to dive right back into this video lesson. So you have the class home, which has today's tasks, and as well as upcoming tasks, just so you can kind of look ahead and see what to expect. Then if you want, you can go to the curriculum, and you can literally see everything. And I talked about this in my first video that I did for the course, so you can certainly check that out if you want to look more at that. So let's kind of look at the curriculum, and I'll kind of go through part 1, which is the songwriting fundamentals. So this is where Ryan shows you how to create a song that is focused solely on a vibe, so like a chord progression and a melody. So he goes through the introduction. So the introduction is him sort of talking about each of the different parts of the course, and how this one is going to be specifically geared towards simplicity, in the sense that you're constructing melody and progressions, as opposed to full out production, as will be covered in the next section. So then you get the starting points and finding a vibe. And this, I really like this. So in this video, you can see here, it's an hour and 24 minutes. And I love this because a lot of these lessons are mostly unedited. Like, it's him going through and figuring out, okay, what kind of vibe do I want? What kind of instruments do I want to use? And you're literally like looking at his thought process. And he does a really good job of thinking out loud. So actually, I think that's one of OneRepublic's song titles. Anyway, so, you know, when you write a song, it's pretty much kept in your head. But for him, he is vocal, telling you what he's thinking, which is important, because then you can kind of get inside of his head a little bit and figure out some of the choices that he makes. So he goes through, how to find a vibe, how to gain inspiration from other artists, other musicians, to kind of help formulate a vibe. One of the best quotes in this video is he says that you need to suck just enough to where you don't get in your own way. And it really resonated with me, because I've tried so hard to become really good at guitar, and I try to learn synthesizers to such an extent, but in the end, it really just jeopardizes your creative experience. And so that's what I really like about these videos, is that it's not so much trying to pull apart every aspect of a certain synthesizer or VST effect. He really tries to approach things instead of like a music theory standpoint from a creative, just get a feel. What's the feel that you want for your song? And that for me is just a simpler way of going about doing things. And so that's pretty much what this video talks about. And then you have your project. So once you go through a video, you have to now implement. And this is where I think the strength of this course is that you have to, it's not just like you watching mindless YouTube videos and it's kind of up to you to figure out how to implement it. This tells you what to do. So it kind of like sums up the course, and then you have to upload it to the peer group. And so, well, why don't I go through the rest of what we did, and then I'll go to the peer group and discuss that. So we did the finding the vibe. The next was the melody. And this one was really neat because historically I would always try to develop a full production before I even think about a melody, and rarely did I even write like a vocal melody because vocals just aren't my strong suit, something that I'm working on. But this challenges you because he really tries to push you to sing, even if you're not good at singing. Like, I'm not really great at singing. I take vocal lessons right now, but he really pushes you to, even if you're not a great singer, just try to sing over the chord progression that you have so that you can start to organize things into verse, chorus, pre-chorus, that sort of a thing. And he kind of just, sings some gibberish. And a lot of it is just being comfortable with being ridiculous. And that's really what this whole section about was, just trying things, just looping your song for 2 to 3 minutes and just seeing what you can come up with. And again, this lesson is, for the most part, pretty much unedited. So you're seeing him go through and brainstorming. Sometimes the things that he sings don't sound good, and other times the things that he sings sound incredible. And you see all of that. He doesn't edit anything out. And he even mentions in the beginning of this video of this lesson that this will probably be one of the videos he doesn't look back on because it's embarrassing. Like, you're singing a bunch of gibberish over your track. But the beauty of that is that you start to sort of chisel away at the things that you like and the things that you feel like could improve upon. And it's really just vastly different from the way that I've made things before. I always approach things from such a sort of music theory and logical foundation, which isn't bad, but it's also not quite as artful to me. This is very artful, and again, it encourages you to explore what kind of feel and what kind of emotion and what kind of story you want to present in your song, which he really says. Like, he says that the melody is the backbone of your track, and if you don't have a good melody, your song's going to be shit. So definitely definitely a really good lesson. So then you get into the next project and you got to write a melody. All right. So you write the melody. You basically take the things you learned from the lesson and you upload it. And then we get into peer feedback. So it gets a little confusing. So basically, let's go to the peer group. The peer group has everything that people upload. So there are 25 people in my peer group, and each one of them uploads their assignments. And you can comment on them. Like, and for the most part, people are active. You can give hearts. You can write comments. I found people were a little more active earlier on, but it gets overwhelming. I mean, trying to comment on 25 different people's videos just becomes very difficult to do. So that's kind of where the peer feedback comes into play, because for the peer feedback part, you are assigned different people, and you have to comment on their stuff. Like, I have 3 people that I had to comment on, and so I listened, and for me, I put in, I don't know if my comment's on here, but I usually put in video feedback just to make it a little more personal, and it even mentions that you can do that. So you do have that as an option. I don't find that a lot of people do it, but I also understand that not many people are super comfortable on camera, so I've gotten a lot of really good text feedback. But the thing is that you have to submit this on time. So if you don't submit this peer feedback on time, then you're not gonna. Well, supposedly you won't get the feedback, or your track won't get assigned to someone. Supposedly, I've been pretty good about submitting things on time, so I haven't had to deal with that. But supposedly that's the case. So that's kind of where just the general peer group, the difference between the peer group versus an actual peer feedback. And so I do like that it has this feature, because again, commenting on so many different people's tracks can get pretty time consuming, especially when you're trying to be very helpful and constructive and fairly detailed. So you basically have 3 people that you have to critique. Moving on from that, that's not the right one. So then we're at the one that I'm at now. So finding a song concept and writing lyrics. I've gotten through about half of this video, and again, it's like gold. I am really bad so far at writing lyrics. It's just not something I've really worked on. Again, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'm largely an instrumentalist. I've always loved singing, but I was never comfortable doing that. And so, again, this takes me way out of my comfort zone. Not only am I singing in front of a microphone, but now I have to write lyrics. And so I haven't written any lyrics. That's my assignment. This was due yesterday. Whoops. So I have to do that. And then coming up, I have to, again, submit the project. So I have to write lyrics for my song. And so what I want to do now is I want to show you what I've done, because I think that would just be helpful for you all, just to kind of see what I've been doing, because I've been really trying to be good about implementing everything that I've been learning from here. So basically, for this is the vibe. So this is starting points and creating a vibe. And so this is what I came up with. And that's all I had to start with. And there's only 3 tracks in there. So there's the percussion, the guitar, and the bass line. That's it. And that's all you need. And that's one of the things that he talks about, is that you don't need much to do an entire full-fledged song. And so after that, I started doing melodies. This is just my introduction that I did just to try to be, social. And then after that, I wrote the melody. And so I'm not going to play all of it, one, because it's like really freaking embarrassing, but here's sort of a taste of it.
Did you find love? Did you find faith? Did you find all the things we cared about tonight? Did you find love? Did you find faith? Did you find all the things we cared about tonight? People stopping and they'll see a different side of me. That you go home, home. People stopping and they'll see a different side of me. They'll see, oh.
So that gives you a sense of where I'm at with the vocal melody. Again, like, my vocals aren't great, and I was singing pretty quietly in the mic just because I'm pretty self-conscious about it. But what was neat is that this was one of the assignments where other people gave me peer feedback. So looking through, I got some feedback, and a lot of it was like pretty specific and things that I could add and change and modify. And so that was really helpful for me. And so coming up, the next thing I have again is the finding a song concept and writing lyrics. And again, that is going to be quite challenging. And so I have to submit that in 2 days. Typically, you have a video lesson, and then you have about 1 to 2 days to work on whatever it is that they want you to work on. So overall, you have to be able to prioritize your time. Like, I have a full-time job, and I have to juggle that and doing this. And so that gets to a point to where you have to figure out time management. You have to figure out, where can I dedicate time to doing this? Maybe you can watch the entire hour and a half video, or maybe you just have to do half of it one day and half of it another day. Luckily for me, aside from working, my nights are pretty free for the most part, but I do have to go to bed early because I wake up early to go to the gym. And so a lot of times I'm able to do watch a video lesson in its entirety in a night, and then I'm not able to actually implement it until the day after. So it's not that it's overwhelming, but you do have to be pretty diligent about keeping on track and having a good way to maintain good time management, because otherwise you will fall behind easily. Again, this video, the finding a good concept and writing lyrics, that was due yesterday. So I'm working on that now, and luckily I have 2 days to work on lyrics, which seems like a good amount of time, but for a topic that I'm not well versed in, that's going to be challenging, especially since it's due on Tuesday, and today's my only day where I have off of work, and then tomorrow I'm right back at work again. So I only have the evening to do it. So it just adds to the not stress of it, but the urgency of it. You just have to stay on top of things. But overall, in summary, like, this course is well worth the money, like 100%. I would easily do this over again. And the thing, like, this is just part one. Like, it seems like we've covered so much, and this is only one of 3 parts of the entire course. And so I think that's pretty much it for this. And right here, or somewhere in this video, I'm going to be uploading week 2, so you should be able to click on that. If you can't click on it now, it's because it's not available, but look forward to that, and I will see you in the next video.